Hey, greetings guys, and thanks for joining me. This is the November Collective Conscious Psi reading for the Global Predictions for 2018 using the Psi cards on the left and two cards from the traditional tarot on the right. This is connecting into collective conscious energies and seeing what is the background vibration for November from the majority of the population that's on the planet. So we're off to a little bit of a rough start already with November, given the recent hate mass murders in America at the synagogue, which has been a pretty sad, vindictive, hate-ridden event. We'll see how November's going to come out when we get into the cards. It can be a turbulent month. It's a month of fairly intense energies, November, and in part because of the Scorpio background with it. It's also the 11th month of a year that adds up to number 11, so there could be some double synergy going on there with the, doubling up of the number 11. However, let's start with these ones first. A little bit of quick shuffling. I don't even want to shuffle now. I had just been doing some shuffling before starting the video. The King of Rods and the Ten of Rods, or Wands, depending how people like to call it. So oftentimes these denote career sectors or the creative source of life. The King of Rods is often known as kind of like an entrepreneurial guy. He can be in the realm of our career or creative energies. He sometimes comes in with passion, and fire and tempestuousness, so I kind of guess that could match the energies that are around at the moment. Some of the key words that are represented with the King of Rods are a natural born leader. He has vision, entrepreneurship and honour. He does have a tendency to have people gravitate towards him because he can fire people up. He can make them very passionate about a cause or a community or a political opinion or a religious opinion. So there could be a lot of fire and passion coming for the month of November, and as I say, I think we see that already manifesting through these later stages of October. So the Ten of Rods has a feeling of like something's been a long road, something's taken a long time to get to the point that it is. And the tens are often about the end of a cycle, so as if something's going to click over and turn into a new evolution or revolution. There's a whole lot of political unease or tension in Brazil at the moment too, with a potential new far right leader who is creating quite a lot of passion over there and divisiveness throughout the country. So that could be a political pattern worth watching as well. And I believe America have got some midterm elections coming up. I'm not sure if they're in November or not, but there is a lot of activity around political elections, and they could be considered under the Wands banner. It could also mean that there just feels as though there's a weight on the shoulder of Earth at the moment, that there's a heaviness, a feeling of like we've been coming so far along a path, but we're still not there yet. So it's like the doors shut down on you, or you feel you haven't made enough inroads on the project you've been doing. So whether or not those are, main feelings as we come into November, they could be more promising than that though. Both of these cards in theory are quite promising cards from the perspective that they lead to new beginnings or ideas. Let's pop them up into the background for now and see what is coming in the Psi cards for November. These ones are so much smaller than all the others, it's even sometimes difficult to shuffle these because of their size, their small size. Okay. Well, that's not very nice. Mother, so destruction, mother. The Enquirer, which I normally take out of the deck because it just, anyhow, we'll get to it. So it is in there for the reading. The skills, the home, and the sun. Gosh, I haven't seen the sun out in a long, long time. Okay, so the destruction and the skills are two of probably the most unpleasant ones there. So let's start with the destruction. It has been out a little bit in the last few months, although I don't think it was in last month. So it represents a tower, some sort of terrible fighting back in the 1100s or something it looks like. So it has that feeling of going back. You know, you're thinking of things like the Knights Templar, the secret societies of the world, the things like hidden agendas and, you know, the Ku Klux Klan. You think of a lot of these sort of things when you see a card like that, because it's all about somebody's desire to overtake another person's belief or their country or their area, and that is what destruction really is, and that is what war is. Of course, that's how it happens, and that's what it's all about. Someone else's demand to overtake another civilization or area or perspective. So it could be any of those particular realms we're talking about. It often does signal physical warring and fighting, so hand-to-hand combat. And the skills card down here also signals hand-to-hand combat. It does talk about a lot about things like mass deaths in events of warring or fighting or tools or weapons. So this can be terrorist events as well. It does also signify there are damage to buildings and they are on fire. There's a church in the background and a tower in the front. So this can represent literal buildings of such type, so churches or synagogues, and it can be the physical destruction or the metaphysical destruction of their belief system behind them or the people who are involved in them. So the burning buildings could be brought about through an act of war or terrorism, or they could be brought about through a geological issue, such as something like an earthquake or a meteorite landing, or you know, storms that create big events that can cause damage and also create fires from them, you know, when gas is blown out or electricity is damaged. So there are many different possibles with the destruction card. We have seen in the past that when that card turns up, sometimes big towers globally around the world have problems with them. They either might catch on fire, or sometimes we've seen them that when they've been under construction in places like China or India, they can collapse on people and kill them. So there's a possibility that big tall buildings in the month of November or leading into December will have issues either construction wise, or that they will tumble or fall or be damaged one way or another. We come to the next card, which truly is the shining light. Well, perhaps these two are anyhow, the Mother card and the Sun. So the Mother card often represents Mother Earth, Gaia herself. So sometimes I have interpreted that card to mean she is in control of the month, not us. So sometimes this can represent major global events that take place that stem from Mother Earth. Now these can be things such as weather events, or earthquake events, or new information pertaining to Mother Earth, or how we work with her, or what we do around her. So the other thing it can pertain are feminine energies and females on the planet. And I think this has been a year of female energies with the rise of the hashtag #MeToo sort of thing going on. There may be more coming to light about that may be a continuing cycle. There may be more passion around it, or impassioned people. So this is where volatility can come from as well, of course. There is a possibility that it can represent mothers or well-known mothers, so celebrities or royalties, singers, pop stars, any of that type of thing could be in the limelight in an unexpected way for the month of November. There could also be new mothers come on the scene who are famous and well known, and people track the birth of the baby or a pregnancy, or even sometimes the loss of a child within families like that as well. We come to the Enquirer card, and it's linked diagonally to this one down here, the Home card, and they have very much the same meaning. The Enquirer is usually designed for the person who is giving the reading, which is myself. So I live in New Zealand, which is in the southern Pacific. So it often represents something going on with New Zealand. And the home card is very similar. And that's why I tend to take the Enquirer out, because it's just really reiterating the home card energies. So because there's two of these cards that have come out in the month of November, it almost feels as if something is going to happen in or around New Zealand. Now, that can also symbolise our neighbours, because we have, even though we're a long way away from any other piece of land, we are quite tied in geographically and community-wise to our neighbours, such as our Pacific Island neighbours and Australia. So it can also represent things happening with them. Now again, this could be geographical or geological, so it could result in storms or things like earthquakes. It could be political, because we've got these political figures up here. Now we've had some really weird tumultuous energy in New Zealand in the last month in October over our politics. It has gone AWOL. So this could continue and we could see a big change coming. That might be all it's referring to. However, it could also refer to geophysical or geographical, geological type things with us because of the nation that we live in. We're very susceptible to major storms as well as earthquake activity. So if we come down here to the skills card, it is associated there with the destruction card, and it often reminds me of arm-to-arm combat or fighting or warring tendencies. This could also indicate things that go up into space and then come down, because these arrows have been shot up and then they have come back down. So I often associate space technology with this card, as well as things traversing our space. So this can indicate things such as new meteorites or asteroids. There could be some new ones found that are going past us in the next 4 weeks at least. There could be new information pertaining to any of the celestial bodies around us, such as the sun. Or there could be interesting activity with the sun in November. There could be anything to do with our planets or our space around us, or new information with that, new planets that we're finding almost now on a daily basis. We could have new technological information being put out. We could also see more rockets launched, and either some errors with the rockets, like there was back a month ago when the 2 astronauts were going up to the space shuttle and the launch went wrong and the 2 astronauts were ejected out, and they did manage to land back safely on Earth. Well, you can see things like that happen when the skills card is out as well. So much information here, or much activity around our solar and space areas of Earth and our galactic understanding of it. The home card, we've kind of talked about it a little bit before. It does represent possibly the South Pacific areas of the globe. So maybe I could even expand that out. It might even go to the far sides, like South America, even down in that part of the globe, although that seems a far stretch to me. Again, we have got a house there or a building, and there's a fire in the background. So there's a possibility here that fires might be a real issue in November. It could be about buildings just being on fire. This could be due to heat, you know, like firestorms around the place, and that could be, for an example, in Australia, because they're our neighbours and they're considered close to home. Or there could just be an issue with any sorts of fires on the Earth or around Earth at this point in time. I also note here a pet or a cat down on this rug, so there might be something that goes on with animals or people's pets even. We come to the last card, the Sun card, which truly is a beautiful, shining, bright, happy card. It sort of shows the harvest time, and I often have seen this come out in May, literally when we think of this as the maypole with those children dancing around it. However, harvest time right now is the Northern Hemisphere. So I have a feeling this card is associated with the Northern Hemisphere, and it could mean fiery again, because the sun is hot and fiery. So it could mean fiery attitudes or fiery issues or fires themselves. It can also physically represent the sun. So the sun behaving in a way that we haven't seen for a little while. Now I believe we're in a solar minimum at the moment, so we've not seen many things such as X-class flares happening, but perhaps we see an increase in those in November or early December, which can result in big quakes back here, and it can also result in destabilization of people's health. Also, if you listen to Suspicious Observer's channel, he's got a lot of really great information about not just the solar minimum that we're in, but the changing magnetic or magneto energies on the earth, and how our magnetic protection, if you like, is dwindling a little bit because of the movement of the poles. So as this magnetic shield dwindles, and when we come into more X-class flares and such like, the effect on Earth is far greater than it had been in the previous decades, and that affects us as humans because we're electrical in nature, and the sun's energy is electrical as well. So there could be a lot of interference going on in November with these type of energies coming in. I guess, as we said in the beginning, it's a month to watch and see what's coming out. I think that that first card out, the destruction card, pretty powerful card in that position. So let's hope it's not all destruction. Let's hope there's some really positive Mother Earth loving energies and some really healing sun energies. So hey, thanks for joining me everyone. Leave your comments below the video. I love to hear your thoughts as well. Have a great November ahead. Take care, and don't let too much passion and wild enthusiasm be the forerunner of any issues. Okay, thanks guys. Namaste.